big part of what we do is constantly educate people on the food that they're eating. We feed probably 800 families a week, and that's with our vegetables and our meats through restaurants or our CSA program. And what I'm finding all the time is people really have lost the ability to cook or create meals. Just yesterday I was giving a farm tour to 4 freshmen in high school, and they were working on getting 4 freshman girls, and they were getting their Girl Scout merit badge. So they had to come to a farm. And of course the pigs are fascinating to them. The cows are fascinating, and we get down to the vegetable patch, and me, I'm sampling, it's early in the morning, so there's still fresh dew on everything, and I'm sampling the collards and showing them how to pick vegetables and all this, and they're scared to death. They don't know what anything is, they're scared of dirt. I mean, these are Girl Scouts. They're scared to even eat fresh broccoli with morning dew on it, because somehow our system has, I guess it's the industry maybe, I don't know, has brainwashed people into thinking that if food doesn't come out of a bag, it must be dirty. There must be something wrong with it. And if it doesn't come out of a bag with instructions, then I don't know what to do with it. So it was very enlightening to me to see these 4 young girls scared to death of dirt and spiders and fresh air. It was truly eye-opening. And I think for us as farmers and as restaurant owners and chefs, it's a constant education, getting people to understand why it's so important to eat local and support your local farmer.
My soundbite here is we farmers have got to do more than just raise cattle, or raise what we raise properly. We've got to be very much a part of operating with transparency so people can see what we do and making that understanding available to the consumers that are going to go in Annie's restaurant and buy our product, or Whole Foods, and put it in the bag.
Why meat? Can we just live a vegetarian diet? Can we do that? Can we change our world system? Well, one is farms can't really survive without either petrochemical fertilizers or animal manure and animal waste. To have the full system, to go back, and again, this is how we do things, and doing things right, and doing things in a method that actually works in the long run, in the sustainable picture. You need animals to be part of these farms. That's what makes them run. When you buy food, that's a big vote. That's a powerful vote. 300 million Americans voting every day, 3 times a day with their dollar. Powerful vote. If you believe in it, you can make a difference. This is an area that we can change. And I think we do a lot of things wrong. And does it take sort of intensive empiricism and years of scientific study to figure out how to raise animals correctly? Or can anyone walk into a cave and go, this is wrong? And I'm not talking wrong with some specific religious or ethical background. I'm saying if you can breathe, it's wrong. And if you don't think it's wrong, go to a cave, make your decision. And we derive our identity not just from the food we eat and the things around us, but from how we produce food. From a context perspective, is this food expensive? Well, you get into this issue of cost versus value, and then you get into the issue of true costs of the food. Once you cover the environmental costs, the social costs, the health costs, the personal costs of sort of what it does to your personal ethical value, quality, local, organic, humanely raised animal products. And I just want to extend this to fruits and vegetables as well, because we hear so much. I think one reason this panel is here is for 2 reasons. One is the ethical issues around killing animals, but also the tremendous waste of the modern animal production methods. But I want to bring to y'all's attention that every vegetarian out there, that's probably not out there in this crowd, the waste of their veggie burgers is tremendous. They've transported them halfway across the world. They have them grown in Iowa, shipped to China, and then shipped back and packaged over, so much, and you get this thing that you microwave. There's a lot of resources in that veggie burger. So it's just not an answer, and it's not a way to go. And what we're really talking about is the true cost of food. When you look at those true costs of food, this type of food that we've heard about today is not expensive. My background is in infant nutrition. The cutting is actually in complementary feeding. And the cutting edge thinking around complementary feeding is the best thing to feed a child first is meat. Why? Very nutritionally dense. No allergy issues, and it's good. And it fits very well the sort of protein, fat profile that humans need, particularly quality grass-fed type animal products.
I would say develop a relationship with farmers and visit the farm if you can. If you can't, I think finding a credible third-party certification is really the next best thing to that. What we do at Animal Welfare Approved is we are a third-party certifier for pasture-based family farms. And we're the only third-party certification that requires pasture-based management. So when you're looking at all these labels out there, that says natural or naturally raised, and I think it probably brings to mind ideas of pastoral systems and free-range farms. You are probably not getting that when you read those labels. So I think truth and accuracy in labeling is really one of the biggest questions that we need to address as the food community. What does this label really mean when I look at it? And am I getting what I pay for? Am I getting what I really want to support with my food dollar?
I get to figure out how to actually make Emory's goals work and really get to play a part in what we do here, what Sodexo does on this campus, and meet the goals of the Sustainable Food Committee. And one of the things that we've done is every Wednesday, we do White Oak Pastures grass-fed beef in Cox Hall. And then every Friday, we do Springer Mountain chicken on the hotline. And so we've increased our purchases of those in those categories from, I think it was about $1,000 the previous year of White Oak Pastures to last year, $21,000 just by doing that event every week, and have seen similar results in the poultry group as well. But I also get to work on kind of the produce side and really try to figure out how we can meet all of these goals and keep an eye on the bottom line and keep, I think the big challenge for me in my role is to give customers what they want and hope that they've been educated enough to understand what we are trying to give them and to understand the value of grass-fed beef and to understand the value of the cage-free chickens from Springer Mountain Farms.
Whole Foods plays a pivotal role in this process as it gains ground and gains traction. A 5-step rating program that we have for beef, poultry, and pork. And that is a program that enables us to both educate our customers as well as define for our producers what we consider to be good animal welfare practices. For the health of the food industry, I think what we are doing is something that others need to be doing, maybe not in the same way we're doing it.
Ask lots of questions. Question the provenance of the meat you buy. Find out how it's been raised and what it ate, and who produced what it ate and where it ate what it ate. To save money, consider buying it in bulk. The third point is cook good meat with care and cook from nose to tail so that you honor the animal's sacrifice and don't just cherry pick out the best bits. And lastly, save your health, the health of your family, the health of guests at your table, the health of the agricultural landscape, and the planet by eating good meat. That's my book.
I think a big part of what we're doing as chefs is that we need to teach, not necessarily the public, but the public as well, but really teach our staff what to do with animals. Because our staff and most staffs and most chefs and most people who go through culinary school open packages, and that's where meat comes from. So we do take the Terrace Major, and
I think a big part of what we're doing as chefs is that we need to teach, not necessarily the public, but the public as well, but really teach our staff what to do with animals. Because our staff and most staffs and most chefs and most people who go through culinary school open packages, and that's what where meat comes from. Simply with some braised greens or something. Random pieces of meat, we clean all the sinew and then we use those for our burger. We also use some of that for stew meats. The smaller mussels we also use for stew meats. We take the hard fat, which there's a lot and it's delicious, and we render that for our lard. We roast the sinew and we add it to our stock. We cut the large bones in pieces and we pull out all of the marrow, and we use that to fortify our sauces. And I guess all in all, out of maybe a $350 piece of meat, we figure we probably have a fairly decent profit margin because we sell it in so many different forms. But I think the point is that if I was to take all of it and just grind it and make burgers, it would be fairly uninteresting. I think this process is really challenging for our chefs, and it's also an education for our public.
So what we do in our everyday burger joint, as we like to see, is incorporate as much as we can the nose to tail and the whole animals. So if we can get pig heads from, I don't know if we get them from you yet, but
You
can bring them by. Exactly. They've got plenty. So we get pig heads for free. That's our cost on a head of pig. And so what can we do with that? We roast it or braise it, and our chefs do some amazing stuff to it, and they pick it all off, and then we do braised pork cheek on top of a grass-fed burger with some slaw of some kind. And it's amazing, and it really, there's no cost to it, so it brings my really expensive grass-fed beef price down. So there's many ways to think outside the box. You know, when Will's got a lot of beef cheeks, it's like, hey, beef cheeks. You know, you get lemon, make lemonade. You get beef cheeks, you make beef cheek sloppy joe. And people, we sell them out every time we do that. And there's so many ways to use these whole beautiful animals that we have. We can do trotters, we can do trotter cakes, we do beef art. And we're a $6 burger joint, and we can still sell a sliced beef art on a nice, beautiful local green salad. And there are people who come into our burger joint and recognize that and eat it.
So one of the questions is, what can we do about this? And the answer is, we can teach about it. And that means in your faith community or in your neighborhood or with your family, as well as, in my case, with students. So the second thing that we can do is research and really carefully document what does it mean to a community to have one of these facilities? What does it do to the lives of folks there? I got to know that guy through the research of anthropologists who had been looking at the concentrated animal feeding operations in Iowa and in North Carolina. His grandkids can't play outside because the flies that are bred by that facility have really transformed the area. The smell is horrendous, and so the quality of life is much lower. There were lots of ways that facility promised to bring jobs and to bring business benefits that all turned out not to be true. The research also, for me, brings up the image of a beach with dead fish all over it, because that's what happened in North Carolina when there were heavy rains and these manure pits that are part of this system overflowed. A third image that comes into my mind came from a meeting I was very privileged to attend a few months ago, in which a delegation of business leaders and government leaders from the Netherlands was meeting with a group of agricultural scientists here in the United States. And they were very tough on us. They said, you have in your research 15 years ago clear evidence that routine feeding of antibiotics to animals produces diseases that are resistant to antibiotics and that this is a threat to human health. What are you doing about this? And I really appreciate, prior to that point, that when the United States doesn't act, when we as scientists don't do our part to try to not only communicate about a potential harm, but to stop it from escalating, we affect many other countries around the world that can't do anything about it. So the Netherlands was really communicating to us that it was our companies that were doing this, and the disease organisms, even if they kept that meat out of the Netherlands, they weren't going to be able to keep those diseases out of the Netherlands. And so this was the Minister of Agriculture, all the way to the head of the grocery store chains, like a grocers association there. And that was a very powerful experience for me. So last, I will close by saying the other image that I have is what Emory is doing, which is we're trying to buy meat from sources that don't contribute to those problems. We're trying to locate and support the more sustainable production systems, and preferably around the Southeast. So our Sustainable Food Initiative has some strong goals, and we appreciate all the folks at this table that are going to make it possible for us to reach them.